Georgia, Alabama. Sports Live will be your go-to for all your favorite high school and collegiate games this fall. From the Carver Tigers to the Columbus Blue Devils, the Harris County Tigers and Northside Patriots, the Glenwood Gators and Calvary Christian Knights, the Pacelli Vikings and Brookstone Cougars, to the Smith Station Panthers and Russell County Warriors, from CVCC, Pirates basketball and baseball, and every tournament from here to Macon. We are the #1 destination for anything happening in East Alabama and West Central Georgia. Be sure to like and follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and stay tuned for even more amazing ways we will be bringing Georgia, Alabama Sports Live to you this upcoming season. We can't wait to come see you next. What's up, everyone? Thrift Barringer here, and that's Big Rich. It's Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. And first, we want to start off, before we even think a sponsor, before we think anyone else, I want to say thank you to all the mothers out there. For one, me and you would not even be here without our moms, Richard. We also would not be here without Stacey Holdridge, your wonderful wife, and my girlfriend, Natalie Vega, who are both excellent moms that are the bosses of our households for sure. But happy Mother's Day, and we hope everyone that's a mother had an incredible Mother's Day weekend, and we hope that your man and your family took care of you, Rich.
Yeah, a special shout out to the moms. It was a very special weekend for all the mothers out there. We could not do what we do without the sacrifice that they have, watching the kids while we're calling a game, something as simple as that.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, Richard. And as busy as we stay, is gone. Everybody asks, how do y'all do this? You got to have partners that believe in what we do and allow us the opportunity. So, again, we say thank you to all the mothers out there. Thank you again, specifically to Libby Beach, Stacey Holdridge, to Sarah Isla, and I hope I don't miss anyone, Mike Peacock's wonderful wife, Payne Robertson's wonderful wife, Abby Swobel, Libby Beach, Rick Beach's wife, Natalie Vega, and Noah Shelton's wife. I hope I'm not leaving anyone else out there. I'm trying to think. Rex Castillo's brand new wife, Brianna Arrington, Dave Plata's lovely wife. We appreciate everyone that's part of Georgia, Alabama Sports Live, all the men that we have on here. There's no chance we're doing this without our lovely wives and girlfriends and partners. So we say thank you to all the mothers out there. Richard, anything else you want to add?
Oh, no, it was well put, Thrift. Mother's Day weekend. It's always a big weekend in sports, but it's always important to appreciate the mothers, and especially, with Friday being Military Spouse Appreciation Day, that always falls on that Friday during Mother's Day weekend. And it's not about just Mother's Day. It's the weekend, just taking time and spending time with your wife or your girlfriend, and really just giving back, that sacrifice that they've given to us. We just give them back their time. I mean, our time. That's all we really want to try to do, is just give them quality time. And so it was great just to have a break from sports for the weekend.
Yeah, 100% on that. All right, let's talk about the weekend. But before we do that, thank you again to Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC, Buffalo Rock Pepsi, Gordy Eye Care, and Kinetic Credit Union. We appreciate their support of what we do here on Georgia, Alabama Sports Live. Okay, Big Rich, let's get into it. What a week we had last week. We had playoff soccer, playoff baseball. We had Cleanstones in town. Just been a whirlwind the last couple of weeks, man, for everything that we've been able to do. I first want to start with Glenwood, as our lone Alabama team left in the playoffs in our coverage area is still alive and kicking. They are in the state championship in year one of the AHSAA. Richard and I, we went up to Montgomery and we called the Lakeside AISA State Championship. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But then we also called the Glenwood semifinal against the number 1 team according to the Alabama Sports Writers poll. But if you look at Max Preps, Glenwood was number 1. But either way, these were number 1 and number 2, Prattville Christian Academy and Glenwood. We called games 1 and 2. Game 1, Glenwood won 8-4. Sykes was sensational, went 7 innings, and McCrane hit a home run. Judah hit a home run, timely hitting. And game 2, I'm not going to lie, Prattville Christian pitcher was on one and was just giving it to the Glenwood hitters, and we could not get and I say we, but Glenwood.
Ethan Walls.
Ethan Walls. Glenwood could not get any timely hits. It got people on base. They were down 4-3 heading into the 7th, and they were up 2-0. Prattville came back, ended up taking the 4-2 lead. Glenwood made it 4-3 in the 7th. 1 out, bases loaded. Cal Lawrence, who we've seen in those big spots come up huge, hit into a double play. And Coach Fanning and the Gators were like, man, we got to go to a now. And remember, Glenwood was home for that game. They were away games 1 and 3, home for game 2. So they had a chance to win that. Well, Rich, they had to do game 3 on Thursday. And I'll let you set the stage for what is, I think, one of the most dominant winner-take-all performances we've seen. So before you do that, I do want to say thank you to Stephon Lawler and the NFHS Network for allowing us to partner with them to bring you the Glenwood Playoff Baseball Run. We hope to do many more things to Play on Sports, the AHSAA, Ron Ingram, and the NFHS Network. So, again, we appreciate them allowing us to call these games. But, man, that winner-take-all Game 3 could not have been more dominant performance from Mason McCrane on the mound and the timely hitting from these Gators, Richard.
Yeah, and to think on Wednesday to see all those Glenwood fans still at the ballpark. It was close to midnight. Probably didn't get home till maybe 2 in the morning. To turn around and to see almost the same amount of fans there on Thursday was surreal. That just tells you that the Glenwood fans willing to travel. They're going to travel for the state championship in August in Jacksonville State. But a dominant performance over Prattville Christian, 11-1. Mason McCrane, he pitched an absolute gem. He had another home run. So he had 3 home runs for the series. And I was so impressed with Glenwood and their dominant performance in Game 3. This was a winner-take-all Game 3 against one of the top teams in the entire state of Alabama in Prattville Christian. And they won it 11-1 in 5 innings. And that just goes to show that it wasn't just the big bat in the lineup with Mason McCrane. It was also Hudson Campbell. It was also Cal Lawrence. It was Carter Judah, Levi Pender. Man, what a up and down from 1 to 9. These hitters are not only timely hitters, they're disciplined at the plate, and they get the job done. But you really got to give credit to Mason McCrane for coming in and pitching a gem in that Game 3.
I'll tell you this, Richard. He is playing so well right now, not just what he's doing offensively, but because what he's doing with his bat, that there are some professional organizations that are starting to look at him. We could have a draft pick on our hands, which I thought
think so too.
This guy was a no doubt draft pick. But now what he's done in this playoffs and just taking the state by storm. And if he's not the best player in the state, and I'm talking about in all classifications, because, again, there are great hitters that may have better stats than him, and there are great pitchers that may have better stats. But you name me a player that does both as good as he does. There's not many in that regard. And I think he is, if not the best, one of the top 5, top 10. I definitely got him top 5, but there may be other people that only have him top 10. But if you don't have him in the top 10, you got a problem, what Mason McCrane has been able to do. But this team in general, it's just been what a run these last 3 years, Richard, from Jackson Milam and Jacob Page. Remember that dream team from 2 years ago that had Brandon McCrane? Mason McCrane was coming off the bench. He didn't even start. That's how loaded that team was. Last year's team that beat Lee Scott and the state, and then, of course, this year trying to win state in their first season in the AHSA. This 3-year run has been about as good as I've ever seen in Glenwood, and they've had other 3-year they've had a three-peat before back in 09, 10, and 11, my sophomore, junior, and senior season. So they've done this before, but doing it at this level, and then now in the HSA, what a performance. So what does that mean? The Gators are going to be playing Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday, Richard will be there, Choccolocco Park, Oxford, Alabama. Richard will be on the call, and this is what we're doing. We're doing something special. We won't be able to stream it in terms of video, so you won't be able to actually watch the game, but you can listen to it on Facebook and YouTube. And if you click on it, you'll be able to see the scoreboard. So yes, you'll get the scoreboard, and we're going to try to give you live stats, at least who's up the bat. We're going to have graphics, promoting the businesses that we have that are supporting us for this broadcast. So again, that will be Tuesday and Wednesday on Facebook and YouTube. When you click on the link or on the video, it'll be like a normal stream, just won't have any video to it, but you will be able to see. And when I say video, you won't be able to see the actual game being played on the field. You'll be able to hear it. You'll be able to see the scoreboard. You'll be able to know what's happening, but you won't be able to actually see the actual play, because we are not allowed to do that. We are allowed to do audio webcasts, and that is what we're doing on Facebook and YouTube to bring you this. And I think it's awesome. And I want to say thank you to Chuck Hall, Margaret Boss, the Glenwood Booster Club president, for allowing us to do this. Ron Ingram of the AHSA that approved us to do this broadcast. And Richard, I know you're excited about it. I'm excited about it. So you're going to get the entire Glenwood State Championship Series audio edition, but with a scoreboard up and then graphics that says who's up the bat, who's coming up next. All that will be there, just like if you were looking on ESPN and trying to get an update on a Braves game, and it tells you who's up the bat, who's batting, who's on base, how many outs, what the score is. All that will be on screen. You just want to actually be able to see the actual play, because we won't be able to do video, but we will have audio, and Richard will be on there Tuesday, and I will be doing Wednesday games 2 and 3. I'm excited to do this, Richard. I know you are too.
Oh, yeah. Very excited. I'm going to be at Choccolocco Park, home of the Choccolocco Monsters, who just won the SPL championship. That beautiful park that was built a couple of years ago. It's a state-of-the-art ballpark, and it has that minor league feel. I think that having Glenwood play in a ballpark that it kind of is a replica of a minor league ballpark, even though a minor league team doesn't play there. It's an absolute beautiful ballpark. And I know you're going to have a chance to go to Jacksonville State University, where the Jacksonville Gamecocks in the Conference USA actually play college baseball. So that's going to be at a Division I college baseball stadium. And, the kids love playing in the bigger stadiums, and they're going to have an opportunity, as this is going to be the home for all classifications in the AHSAA. Game 1 is going to be in Oxford. Games 2 and 3 are going to be at Jacksonville State.
We can't wait for that. 3:00 tomorrow. Richard will have pregame show at 2:30. Live broadcast will start first pitch at 3:00 at a place that Richard knows pretty well. It's Choccolocco Park, home of the Monstars. And then I'll be there at Jacksonville State University, which will be a lot of fun. Richard, and in my opinion, when watching who they're playing, which is Gordo, the Green Wave, who is the number 8 team in the state, 30-16. They beat Winfield, who was ranked, I think, 3rd or 4th, maybe 4th. They were 34-8, and both those teams were in the same region. And Winfield won almost every game this year. Gordo was able to take 2 or 3 from them after losing game 1, win games 2 and 3. I think Glenwood's going to go and take care of business and sweep them. I don't think the games are going to be close. I think Sykes is too good. And then you got Campbell, McCrane, Levi Pender. Nick Torres. Coach Rainey's got plenty of options in terms of pitching. So I really do think that this Gators team's coming home with the state championship, and I can't wait. But Gordo's, they're one of those teams that's gotten hot. If you look at how their season has played out again, they started off, I think, 0-5, 0-6. Richard, last time I saw when I was doing some prep work before Tuesday and Wednesday, they're 32-17. I'm sorry about that. They finally updated, and they started 0-4 on the 0-5 on the season, and 1-6. Then they rattled off about 8 or 9 in a row. Then they lost 2 or 3 from Winfield. Then they beat and have won since then. I think they've only lost 4 or 5 games in their last 25. So they've been playing good baseball. They beat 2 or 3 from Collinsville. They swept Piedmont in the playoffs. They also beat 2 or 3 from Whitesburg as well, and then took 2 or 3 from Winfield. So this team is battle tested. You never want to say never. Richard, what's your thoughts as we head into this state championship game?
The Gordo Green Wave out of Gordo, Alabama, which I had to look them up. They are in West Alabama. You can't get any more wester than this. This is almost on the Mississippi border, up in, I think, north central, that west area, not necessarily northwest Alabama. That's right on the Mississippi border. And I looked up their research. They've got 4 state championships. So those were all in the early 2000s. This is a baseball team that lost in the quarterfinals last year. When it comes to 3A baseball, this is what people are familiar with. Gordo has been one of those top 3A schools. But I think you're right. I think that Glenwood's biggest test was against Prattville Christian. And I think that they passed. And I think that they're gonna get to the championship. And I just think it's going to be a mismatch. I think that Gordo may keep it close, but I think the pitching of Tyler Sykes, Hudson Campbell, Mason McCrane, I think Hudson Campbell's going to pitch game 2. Coach Fanning's got McCrane there in his back pocket. Remember, games 2 and 3 are the same day. I don't know if he's going to unload his bullpen if they get in trouble in game 2, because you got to turn around and play game 3. But I do like their chances. I like how they're changing the venue because, you have the reason why. Well, why are they doing Oxford and why are they doing Jacksonville State? Well, you have other classifications that are going to be playing in Oxford on different days. And so they're going to be turning around and playing at Jacksonville State. In fact, the 1A classification is actually playing today. And so they're doing that all week. That's how the AHSAA does it in their championships. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to this championship against Gordo.
Should be a lot of fun. And now we had Calvary, who was taking on Strong Rock, the number 6 seed. Calvary took on number 11, Strong Rock. Strong Rock underseeded, really good team. They were a couple games away from really being probably a higher seed. And Coach Smith knew he was going to have a tough one, and he did have that. In that game 1, Noah Shelton was on the call. Strong Rock was able to win that one 8-3. Calvary then bounced back to win 9-6 in game 2. I was there for that on Friday night. And then on Saturday, Richard, as the monsoon came down, Calvary was tied 3-3, but they ended up losing that game. Richard, I think the final score was 5-3.
Yeah.
In that one. And Coach Steve Smith and this historic run of 6 straight state championships comes to an end this past week as they lose to Strong Rock in the first round. Calvary, again, they were a team that had been playing really good baseball at the end of the season. They won every series in their region. They played such a tough schedule. Incredible careers for seniors like Tommy Irvin, Cam Houston, Bryson Brooks, who are all going to be signing at the next level. Cam Houston's going to Albany State, but they just come up short. They were, I think, if they had just gotten that 5 seed like I thought, probably a little bit better of a path than the one that they are having now. If they would have beat Strong Rock, they got Tatnall, and then they would have to take on at Brookstone. But either way, great season for Steve Smith and Calvary. They lose in the first round, and their season comes to an end. And so the only team left standing is Brookstone. But Richard, I do want to talk about that series. It was a back and forth. Seemed like every series, Calvary, we were going to have some type of entertainment, a lot of fun, and we were involved with that and calling those games. But they just come up short, Rich.
Yeah, they were playing a team that was underseeded. Strong Rock went to the semifinals last year. The year before, they won the GIAA championship. Their head coach, former Tennessee and East Carolina coach, a lot of talent. And I think it's tough when you lose game 1 because you got your backs against the wall. And the fact that they had to turn around and win that game 2. Game 3 was supposed to be played at noon. There was some debate of whether or not that they were even going to play this game because Strong Rock actually went back to Locust Grove on Friday night. I thought Bryson Brooks hits that 2-run homer. I seriously thought that the Calvary was going to win this. But one pitcher I'm very impressed with is Fitzstone.
That's the freshman. He was sensational in game 2, Richard.
Yeah, I think he might. He's got closer stuff. He might end up being in the starting rotation next year. If not, if he doesn't want to be a closer, but he's also a pretty good hitter as well. The future is bright for Calvary. Coach Smith has got some up-and-coming players that we knew that with all the talent in the GIAA, that this was going to be a challenge for Calvary to compete for a state championship. And I tell you, they were playing against a Strong Rock team that was very familiar with them because Strong Rock already played them 3 times in the regular season. And they come up short, but what a fantastic season for Coach Steve Smith and the Calvary Knights.
Yeah, unbelievable. And now that leaves Brookstone. But before we talk about Brookstone, Actually, we'll go ahead and get into them. So we'll see on the baseball scene. Brookstone's going to be hosting Bullock Academy. Bullock Academy beat Pacelli. They were the other GIAA team still that made the playoffs. They got swept. They lost 13-5 and then I think 5-4 in that game too. So tough one for Pacelli. But again, Coach Case Rasmussen, young, beat Lakeside, who won the state championship, and had a great season. Just came up short against Bullock. So now Bullock, the number 7 seed, taking on Brookstone. So we got Brookstone and Glenwood. Just like last year, is the only 2 teams still left alive to hopefully bring home state championship. So we will be there this week, Friday, games 1 and 2. Richard will be there for that, me and him. And then Saturday will be, if necessary, game 3. Before we talk about soccer, I do want to talk about one other thing we were able to do last week, Richard, which is one, we were at the Columbus State press conference. We're going to save that for the end of the show. So for those that we want to talk all things Columbus State at the end of the show and their baseball program. We're going to talk about Lions getting a big win. Trust me, I know Clingstones. There's a lot of like, hey, what else? What about the professional teams? We got Columbus United opening up this Saturday. We're going to save that for the back half of the show because we got a special interview coming up here in just a moment that I want to get into. But real quickly, Richard, we were in Montgomery at Patterson Field, the historic Patterson Field, for the AISA Single A State Championship, and the Lakeside Chiefs able to get a massive win and win back-to-back championship in Tony Rasmus's second season. So 2 years he's been there, 2 state championships, and Lakeside won game 1 9-0. Demetrius Hardnett, man, the senior right-handed pitcher. Richard, this guy was almost unhittable this year, and looking at his stats, 14-0. With a 0.53 ERA. He had 15 strikeouts in that game 1. Could not have been more dominant. And then in game 2 was a collection of guys that were able to be on the mound, including the sophomore Boston Brown. But it was the heroics and the walk-off home run of senior Carson Scott that delivered the knockout punch. And I will say, funny story, there have been so many pop-ups in that game for Lakeside. It was 4-4. For one, I'm hoping, like, come on, please don't let me have a game 3 tomorrow because we had a busy day on Thursday, and we had Glenwood potentially with their game 3 in Montgomery. But, Richard, what happened? Scott came up, and he hit one that looked like it may have been staying in the field. It looked very similar to the fly balls that we have seen earlier in the game that didn't leave the ballpark. But then, as you hear me start getting excited because I realized, hang on, the left fielder's at the wall and is trying to run further and can't. This is going to leave the ballpark. And then realizing that that's a walk-off home run to win the state championship. Not only the game, but to win the state series. So, yeah, I got a little too excited and kind of clipped the microphone. I was so, again, kind of was caught off guard by it. But what a game, what a performance by Hardnett in game 1 as a pitcher. And then Scott with a game winner. Lakeside back-to-back, and Tony Rasmus got 3 state championships now at 2 different schools. Cements his legacy as one of the greatest coaches we've had in our area. But how about the Lakeside Chiefs? And we thoroughly enjoyed being up there at Patterson Field, didn't we, Rich?
We really did, and we got to call Lakeside a couple of times, at least 4 times on Georgia Alabama Sports Live as they were playing Calvary, Pacelli, Brookstone. So we're very familiar with this Lakeside team, and what about the job that Coach Tony Rasmus has done as the baseball coach? Back-to-back championships, and they had over 50 wins. And who knows? I mean, Lakeside is one of those schools. Like I want to see them play public schools. I mean, we got to come up with that rule. And as long as they're in the AISA, Coach Rasmus is going to schedule up to 60 games because they like to play ball. But yeah, Lakeside. Back-to-back champions. What a great season.
Unbelievable season. All right. Thank you again to Tony Rasmus and Riverside Turf, the presenting sponsor, for helping us get that facilitated. And this goes down as one of the best state championship games. We're going to have on Coach Rasmus on Thursday. We'll also have on Coach Mathis, too, to talk Brookstone as well. Could hold that sneeze in. Richard tried my hardest, but I could not hold it in. All right, Richard, set the scene on the soccer playoffs. Who's alive? Who's not? What's happening this upcoming week?
All right, thank you, Thrift. Well, we got the Shaw Raiders. In fact, we're going to have Coach Curtis Moore on. He's going to join us in just a bit. The Shaw Raiders are playing in the state championship as they're going to take on Drew Charter at Mercer University this Friday at 7:30. It's Shaw. Like, playing for a state championship. They have flown under the radar as they started the year 1-4. In fact, Columbus was really the team. They were the defending champions. Columbus was one of these teams that everybody thought maybe they can go back to back. Well, Columbus lost a heartbreaker in extra time against Cahola Creek. Well, Shaw was able to go up to Dalton, Georgia, and beat Cahola Creek 3-0 to face Drew Charter in the championship. What a great season so far for Coach Moore and the Shaw Raiders in the state championship. As for Calvary Christian, they had no problem in their game as they advanced to the second round. They won their game against Mount DeSales 7-0. So Calvary Christian is going to be advancing in the state championship in the GIAA. We've got the Pacelli boys. They are the number 4 seed. They are hosting Cristo Rey on Saturday. We got the Pacelli girls. They are going to be hosting Bullock Academy at 5:30 on Friday. The Brookstone girls, they ended up getting a win at home, and they are going to be on the road taking on the Kings Academy. And so that's pretty much the scene in soccer when it comes to the GIAA and the GHSA. We've got some teams left alive, and as a matter of fact, with the Pacelli boys and girls still alive for that state championship berth, that's going to be at Stratford Academy on GIAA.tv on May 27th and 28th. So you got the girls' championship is going to be that Tuesday on the 27th. The boys' championship is going to be that Wednesday, the 28th.
Awesome. Well, Richard, I appreciate you giving us that update. And guess what? We got a special guest. We got the Shaw head boys soccer coach coming on right here. He talked with Richard Holdridge earlier today about making the state championship. How about those Raiders? We'll talk about that. Richard will be that. And then coming up later on, we got Coach Fanny from Glenwood ahead of his state championship game. We also got Mike Woods of Girls Inc. Coming on as well, and looking forward to talking with Mike Woods. Should be a lot of fun as we're going to have him on, and as well as Coach LaNitra Perry, who is a longtime Division I assistant coach. Richard, been in college basketball for quite some time, and she is going to be coming on to talk about an upcoming event being held and camp being held at Girls Inc. So we're going to talk to both of them, and we'll talk with Mike Woods, some WNBA, NBA, how the travel season going, and everything else. And then we'll end the show, of course, with updates on the Lions, the Clingstones, and more. It's the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. We'll be right back after this. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Muskogee County Coaches Show, as we have got a soccer team in Muskogee County that is playing in the state championship. I reached out to this guy. I had him on last week. I'm excited to welcome the Shaw soccer coach, Coach Curtis Moore. How are you doing, Coach?
Doing well. Doing well. Great to be here.
All right, first off, congratulations, the Shaw Raiders in the state championship this Friday, 7:30 at Mercer University. Before we talk about the journey to where your team has accomplished, just talk about your background. How long you been the Shaw soccer coach? I know you're a teacher at Shaw. How long you been a teacher there? And what are some other sports that you coach at Shaw?
So I came to Shaw 3 years ago, and I came on actually with Coach Pellegrino, who passed away. But I came kind of under him. But with Coach Harrison came over, I was part of the football coaching staff. Coach Bailey was the soccer coach, the boys soccer coach at the time. And when he moved on to Atlanta last year, I took over as the head boys soccer coach. So I've been doing it from last year to this year, and certainly have been excited to watch these guys progressively get better and better each game, each practice, and all. I have been a part of coaching for many, many years. Have coached in different areas like basketball and volleyball with different teams and different schools. Here in Columbus at Wimber Christian School is where I was for 6 years before I came to Shaw and did some coaching there.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, we are all excited that the Shaw soccer team is in the state championship. There's only been 5 champions in the history of Shaw High School. Girls track, they've won it 3 times. The football team won a state championship in 2000, and the baseball team won a state championship in 2001. The baseball team has gotten close before, got to the state championship. Some of the football teams have gotten to the state championship in the 2000s. But I'm telling you, there's just something special in the air, and I've actually witnessed your team, and it seems like you have overcome that 1-4 start, and you guys are playing with a lot of confidence. And just talk about just how exciting is it, and how is the team feeling just playing with their backs against the wall, able to get out a big victory in the semifinals against Coahulla Creek. And now you're playing in the state championship. Just what's the vibe just around the school and just with the team itself, knowing that they have a chance to win a state championship in soccer?
Right. Well, for these boys, when the seniors first came on at soccer, they only won 2 games. So you're looking at seniors that were part of a program that did not have success. And they have steadily gotten better and better as they have played together. And as certain pieces came together, it's just gotten to be very magical. Now, last year, we did have a little setback in that when some of the ESOL students that were zoned for Jordan left the Shaw program and moved on to Jordan. It really helped Jordan's program, and we felt that a little bit. But I feel like what we have done with that, as you said, a kind of a slow start. That slow start was really a part of us trying to find out our set roles on our team. And at the very beginning, that first game, playing Columbus High that early in the season, really showed our program that we could compete with the best that this state had to offer. Because when you compete and you play to penalty kicks against a full Columbus High squad, it's saying something. And just these boys took that last loss. I think we played Pacelli. We had played East Coweta and Pacelli back to back. And that last loss, we found something that we started to really enjoy the game, and the guys just have just built on that, playing to love the game, enjoy the game, and success has just followed from that time.
Yeah, I tell you what, it has been an incredible season. We have witnessed Shaw soccer this year. We had that historic game against Jordan and your team won it on penalty kicks. Your team has flown under the radar. I mean, yeah, you talk about the 1-4 start. Columbus is the defending 3A champions. They won the region. They were the higher seed. I know we were hoping for that semifinal matchup between Shaw and Columbus. Coahulla Creek actually upset Columbus, so you had to go on the road to Dalton. But just talk about that journey getting into the playoffs. I mean, you took care of business in that first round game against Johnson, 10-0, and then having to go on the road to defeat a very good Ringgold team. Just talk about having to go on the road. You get that break because you get to play Jackson at home because Jackson upset Morgan County, the overall number 1 seed. And then you got to go back on the road to take on Coahulla Creek. Just talk about what the vibe the team was thinking as you were going through this journey. I know it's tough to get victories on the road, but you have a road home playoff game, road, then home, and then back on the road. Just talk about like what it was like just for the team to have to travel back and forth.
Sure. Well, yeah, making it to the playoffs was not necessarily our end goal. We believed that we could do something pretty amazing. We felt like we had the team that could make a deep run in the playoffs. And certainly, I feel like our smaller side of the bracket really fit good, in that we were able to play a team that I felt had not had the pressure that we put on teams, the offensive pressure. And of course, when we were playing Johnson, just reaching out to the coach and the players, they were just so happy to be there, and it was so encouraging to play against them, because it was just fun to play that game. And then when we went up to Ringgold, it was going to be a challenge because they were a very defensive team, and we knew that for them that we were going to need to be a little patient, but that those gaps that our guys are so good at finding in the game were going to be there. And I just was trying to encourage them to keep taking those shots, that keep pushing that ball in there and putting it forward. And those gaps did open up, and we were able to put it through too. But we have some of the best defense in the state. And even though that we felt like Ringgold and Coahulla Creek were some of the best defensive teams in the state, we feel like we're the best defense, and we kind of show it. But we've played two teams that were really good, and we've held them scoreless. So we've actually, in the playoffs, we've held three teams without any points, and I feel like, giving up a little bit to Jackson, we were kind of subbing. I think the guys were really wanting to help everybody that could enjoy that moment. And that's what's been very good, is that the players themselves, they want to win, but they want to win as the team. And so I've got guys playing out of position. I've got a guy that is a forward that's playing our center back, and he makes our defense so much better. And that's where you realize that this team is magical, in that they will sacrifice for the better of the team. However, whatever it's going to take to make the team better, they're going to do it. So whether it's on the road, when you've got those fans that are cheering and they're against you, and they're really saying some pretty crazy things to you, and the players are like, can they really get away with saying that? These high schoolers are, they've never heard some of the language that can come from the stands. You just turn around and say, you know what? You need to turn your attention to the field and let the scoreboard do your talking. And that certainly what they did against Coahulla Creek. And they just were able to be patient, and things just really opened up for them. They have really been an amazing team. I feel like I'm more like, not necessarily the coach, but the bus driver. The kids play the game, and I'm just driving the bus. They are really have done an amazing job trusting each other, and just I believe in them, and they have begun to believe in themselves, and are doing some amazing work.
Well, Coach, I've witnessed your team twice already, and I am blown away. Your team is just playing great at the right time. I want to start talking about some of your players. We're going to start with your strikers. You have a senior-led team led by Kelvin Reyes, Andres Bonilla. They have striking capabilities anytime they're on the field. They turn up the field, and they have got speed. Also, Cameron Tharp, one of your senior leaders. But how important is it just to have a balance? Because you have your strikers that are your leading goal scorers, but you also have your defensive players like Jay Harris, who's only a sophomore, Alexi Mendez, but also you have a freshman midfielder who has come on as of late, Osman Aguirre, who has just been incredible. Just talk about like what it means to have a balance when it comes to senior leaders that have striking capabilities, and also your defense. You talked about how impressive your defense have been. You have a solid team all around. Just talk about just some of the roles that some of these players have played.
Well, I told the guys at the very beginning when we were conditioning, I said, y'all need to work hard enough that you may not get out of a game. I may need all 11 of you to play the whole game. And so when we went to practice, they worked with that goal in mind, whoever it was. And I've got three guys that are not starting that I could put in, and the wheels keep turning just as fast, and they're just as good as the players that are in front of them. And that's I mean, we showed it in Jackson when we had a player, Gio Minivar, went down. Fabian Barak came in and he scores 2 goals. So we don't lose anything
Right.
from our players that are behind. But certainly the leadership is from those seniors. Yeah, you said it with Andres Bonilla, being able to change defenses, and so defenses have to account for his playmaking ability, his ability to be able to create space and to create just just options for our team. So as they began to focus kind of on him, it opens it up for Kelvin. And let me tell you, just because you're open doesn't mean you're going to make the shot. Kelvin makes the shot. He takes the shot, and it's okay if he doesn't, if he misses it, he's going to keep shooting. And Cameron is the same way. Now I've had Cameron had to play not only in the forward in the wing position, but he's now kind of come in the middle. He's played defensive back for me. He's done what we've needed to in order to win, and I would say the same thing for a guy that should be playing forward, but he's playing our center back in Darwin Tovar. Now he's having to play our center back position, but because we just are down, we need some size back there, and the sacrifice that he's made in order to play a position that is not his normal position. That's what this team has done. And when you're talking about Usman Aguiar, he he is amazing. As a freshman, he's electric. Able to take the ball, able to take the ball away from the midfield. He's able to push the ball up. So um, we have so many guys that can create those assists for the guys that are up top. Whether it's through Hebert Sanchez, Usman, like I said, Jay Harris is a he's a shutdown defender. And Alexi might play defense, but I'll have to move him up. He also plays midfield. I have Xander Byers on kind of on one side, one wing, right wing, left wing, and then when Kevin Mateus comes in, he's able to play defense, midfield. I got Ty, that's a striker. Those guys are create depth and they create mismatches for even if I put the guy behind on the bench in, they're still going to create mismatches for the teams. And it's why I really love our team and really am excited about playing Drew Charter. They have scored as many goals as we have. They have a power combo in scoring that we have with uh, Andres and Kelvin, and I just don't think that they have played a defense like ours, and that's what I'm kind of counting on. It's what I am wanting to uh, to let my boys know is that you play your game the way you play it, and I feel like great things are going to happen. I just really do.
Yeah, and that Drew Charter team has only given up 1 goal, and that was to Tattnall County in the semifinals. It's going to be a tough matchup, but it's going to be at Mercer University this Friday, 7:30. Before I let you go, Coach, talk about how the fans can get tickets. How can they come to the game, and is there going to be an opportunity to watch the game on the NFHS network?
So there is an opportunity to watch on an NFHS network, and I believe it's through NFHSnetwork.com or .org. But I know from our school, we are looking at taking a bus, like a fan bus, and there's some tickets that are already beginning to go on through the GoFan page. So I know that there are opportunities for for the teams to be able to do that. I don't know the exact way to get there. Don't have I don't necessarily have the QR code that's set up for the GoFan page, but I will be putting that out as soon as I can. I know our athletic director has done that, and our school is really getting behind the kids. The boys are getting excited. There's a lot of love. Our girls. Track team finished second in the state just this weekend, and we had
There you
several
go.
state winners, and that just puts us in a situation that we want to continue on this great spring that Shaw Sports has had, and we just would like to bring home a state title as a team. So that's what we're looking forward to doing, and we
Yeah, and
feel the
we are.
support that folks have.
Yeah, we are totally pulling for you, Coach. I know that Shaw has never won a soccer championship. And by the way, they do have a Major League Soccer player. Marshall Leonard played at Shaw, and he went on to play for the New England Revolution. I think it would be great that we could have two Columbus schools go back-to-back. Columbus High won the championship last year. Shaw winning it this year would be amazing, but we should best of luck, and we'll be watching you on the NFHS network, and thank you for coming on the Muskogee County Coaches Show.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that is the Shaw boys soccer coach, Coach Curtis Moore, in the state championship against True Charter this Friday, 7:30 at the campus of Mercer University. Thank you for watching another episode of the Muskogee County Coaches Show, and we will see you next time. Have a great rest of your night, everybody.
You're watching right now the Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this. Georgia-Alabama Sports Live wants to say thank you to one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock, and their partnership with everything that we do. And without business like Buffalo Rock, we wouldn't be able to go cover softball, volleyball games, every type of high school sport you can think of, local college games, and professional. So thank you to those businesses that support us, and specifically Buffalo Rock. And next time you're watching a Georgia-Alabama Sports Live broadcast after a nice long day, why not enjoy it with a nice refreshing Sorry? The best lemon lime soda around. Thank you to Sorry and Buffalo Rock for our partnership on Georgia-Alabama Sports Live. Welcome back, everyone, to Georgia-Alabama Sports Live Show. Thrift, Barringer, Big Rich, Muskogee County School District Coaches Show. Let's go Raiders. That's what we're going to be saying on Friday as they try to bring home a state championship. But there's another team that's trying to bring home a state championship. And we're going to go ahead and bring on the lead man himself. He's the athletic director. He's the head coach. And he's my good friend. It is Coach Tim Fanning of Glenwood. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday night.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. Just actually sitting in the bed. Just got home. Yeah, got home from practice, cutting the field after practice to try to relax, and just counting down the minutes to get on the bus to leave tomorrow.
Cannot wait for it. And by the way, I just want to throw this out there. I will have a whole spiel that I'm going to give, but I'm going to wait till after the state championship series. I don't want to do it right now. And I promise you, I cannot wait, because there's been a lot of naysayers. There's been a lot of people that have a lot of comments on how the Glenwood baseball program should be covered, respected, and a lot of other nonsense. But I'm going to let the season finish out, but just letting you know from somebody that graduated from Glenwood, and I know I'm speaking for a lot of people, Coach, this is a big deal. This is historic, and we are so proud of you and the boys on what you've been able to accomplish this year. I guess let's start there. Coach, from the beginning of the season, beating Central to now being 2 games away from winning a state championship in your first year in the AHSA, what's been going through your mind these last couple of days, man?
Well, just hoping the kids can, recognize how special it is. Not allowing too much pressure to be put on themselves, and
Right.
enjoy the moment that we have ahead of us, and I'm kind of the same, but I'm telling them, but I'm talking to myself as well. I don't want to be the old codger that's always, like on pins and needles and not wanting them to enjoy themselves. And, I know that we have a task at hand, and we're going to make sure that we're ready. And just judging by, our senior leadership this week, there's no doubt that we will be. But at the same time, one of the reasons, for making this jump is, the size of the organization that we're in now, the amount of teams that are involved, the amount of emphasis they put on state championships and how special they make it. I'm looking forward to it just as much as the players are, to be quite honest. So I told them today, I want to see them in that moment. They deserve it. Just because they deserve it don't mean we're going to win, but
right.
They do deserve to be honored in this match. So I'm super proud. I'm super blessed to be able to, just kind of stand there and see them kind of be in that moment, that they deserve.
Coach, I want to talk about that series with Prattville Christian, because I witnessed not only the Glenwood fans who were there almost till midnight on Wednesday night and having to go back to Phoenix City at 2 a.m. and then turn around and come back to Montgomery. And there was just as many fans for that game 3. Just talk about how tough that series was against Prattville Christian, because they were a very good baseball team. Their ace, they Walls threw a gem in game 2. Some people said that he was their number 1 starting pitcher. Just talk about how tough that series was, and what are you looking forward to with this matchup against Gordo?
Well, it was, I guess, everything that people anticipated it to be, 1 versus 2, that kind of stuff. They were every bit as good as advertised, and the one good thing, that, I think we were a little deeper than them pitching, and when we got somebody with the stature and the pedigree of a going in game 3, I don't know that there's many people in the state, despite any classification, to be honest with you, is going to roll out a possible draft pick for game 3. And, he had not pitched in such a long time. So, there was a little bit of, he had been pitching, live the last few weeks, and we just chose not to use him, or didn't have to really. And, but he delivered in spades on the mound. And, basically that second game, the guy, you got to give him credit for Chipola for a reason. He's a really good pitcher. He pitched out of, several jams and got some big outs. And, we had the bases loaded with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Just hit the ball really hard, just right at somebody and into a double play. So I really felt like the kids would respond the next day. And then, having Mason on the mound, and, once we got the lead, I think everybody felt pretty comfortable.
I definitely did, Coach, and I love every second of turning on my phone to NFHS Network and seeing it's 11-1 in the 5th inning, Coach. So trust me, I was fired up about that for sure. But Coach, let's continue on. We're here with Coach Tim Fanning, and his Glenwood Gators are in the state championship series as they are going to be taking on Gordo tomorrow. I want to first start off with this, Coach. I am super excited and to make an announcement that Georgia Alabama Sports Live will be able to do an audio only. So if you're going to tune in, you'll be able to watch on Facebook and YouTube. When I say watch, you're going to have a graphic up with the scoreboard. You're going to see who's up the bat. You're going to see who's on base, how many outs, and what the score is. But that's it. You won't see the actual play on the field. It will be a radio-style call, but with the graphics and some of the sponsors. And I want to say thank you to Margaret Moss. I want to say thank you to Greg Graham. I want to say thank you to Chuck Hall, Chip Corley, Jeff Henry, and of course, Alex Quinney, Judson Humphreys. I'm naming a lot of names right now because we have so many Glenwood alumni. They're doing so many great things out there in the business world right now, but they came together literally in the last 3 or 4 hours to help make this broadcast possible. So we're super excited. We'll be able to give the audio only version, Coach. And, as someone that knows about this school as I was talking with Chuck Hall, this means a lot for everyone in the community. And I would have been sick to my stomach if I didn't get to call this state championship game. So glad we're able to get that and put that out there first. Second, the game Gordo. All right, Coach, when I did my research, we talked about this at the beginning of the show, man. They're 32-17 right now. They have won every series they played in the playoffs, obviously. I've only had one sweep last series against Winfield, a team came second in their area to. They came back after being down 1-0. So do you know much about the Green Wave? What are you looking forward to in this matchup as you prepare for them the last couple of days?
Well, I mean, I know that they have a championship culture. I mean, obviously we haven't played them, but, right. This being our first year in the Alabama High School Association, but I do know from an athletic department standpoint, they do have a rich tradition of winning, and that tends to put kids on the field that expect to win no matter what their age is, what their record is, and much like I feel like with our Glenwood tradition that to win, and I think that's what I see when I watch them play. Right, they may be younger than we are, or a lower seed, whatever you want to call it. But to me, those teams are kind of dangerous. Because they obviously know how to win. They're not scared of being behind. They've proved that. And then I'm sure their coach and everyone back there is like, telling them they're the underdog, and this is the David and Goliath something, like right. I would as a coach as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why it's important for us to show up and do us. And, I know people get tired of me saying this, but I mean, we're not playing against an opponent. We're playing against the game. If we play well enough to win, we're going to win. If we don't, then we're going to lose. And worrying about, what someone else is going to do, in my experience, is not a waste of time, but a time you can use on other things. And we've done that, and we've prepared the best we know how, and the way we have, the entire season, and good Lord willing, that'll be enough.
Coach Fanning, they hear this term all the time thrown around in the AHSAA, trying to win a blue map. Now this saying has never been heard in the AISA. Now right. You're competing in the AHSAA, and Oxford, Jacksonville State. These are the two places that traditionally game 1, game 2 for all classifications in the AHSAA. Talk about the preparation that your team is prepared to be focused. Is it business as usual like you've been doing in the AISA? And I know we talked after the win over Prattville Christian on the field, where it doesn't really matter the classification. You guys want to win a championship. It doesn't matter if it's AISA or AHSAA. But there is some significance in winning a blue map, especially with all the classifications in Alabama. In my opinion, it seems like the media at WFSA and Montgomery and Birmingham, they are putting all their focus on the AHSAA. They're actually putting all their resources into Oxford and Jacksonville. I know that it seems like the AISA down in Montgomery is taking a back seat, but I mean, this is where the media attention is focused on in all the Alabama media outlets.
Well, and I can understand there's, I'm making this number up, but I do know it's pretty close. I mean, there's 300 schools versus 40 schools or whatever that number is. It's significantly bigger. So there's significantly more resources. There's more teams. There's more, there's naturally going to be more hype. But I'd be lying if I didn't say, we've talked about what this means in our community, the opportunity we've had and thankful of having to be able to play all these local schools. But at the end of the day, like, we haven't changed anything that we do in the preparation stage. Now it's been 2 rounds longer. than than we've done in the past in the AISA. So really, it's more just about recovery, making sure we're rinsing and repeating, what we've done all year from that standpoint. But from a fundamental standpoint, a scheduling standpoint, a game, a practice management standpoint, all the things are the same. We have all the same traditions that we've always had. We make state championship, and the seniors get to have a home run derby against us, against me throwing, and and that's always a lot of fun. The Sunday before we we'll have a practice, and then we sit down and have a steak dinner together, and it's just us. And today, the seniors' last practice, they're in charge of taking the flags down off the field. That's the last thing that they do on the practice field as a Glenwood baseball player. And then we get together, and the seniors give speeches to the team. And so all those things are the same. You're blessed to have a rich tradition at the school, and I think you'd be silly not to honor that in the same way that it has always been done. So we're super excited about the venues. I mean, they're amazing. They're great places. And backtrack to earlier in the year, and we talked about one of the things we were excited about was going places we've never been, and these are two of them. So I think the kids are excited. Anytime you get with your boys and head on the road and going to exciting places and spending the night and getting to really spend time, and for these seniors, I mean, this last couple of days that they're going to see a lot of these kids for a long time, because they're going to go off and become men and go their separate ways. And what you hope is that this bond will last them for the rest of their lives. And from what I've seen, with the synergy that we've been able to build throughout the year, I think it will.
Well, Coach, thank you so much again for all you do for us, man. Looking forward to Tuesday and Wednesday. You'll be able to watch and listen here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, 3 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and the If Necessary will be 30 minutes after. Coach, we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning on the Sports Vision Morning Show at 8:30, and good luck. Go Gators.
Go Gators.
You, Coach.
That is Coach Fanning, and I love him. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got a special treat. We got Coach LaNitra Perry, who has coached WNBA stars like Brianna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd. She's Jewel Lloyd. I can't even get the name out. Jeez. She's coached at Louisiana Tech, Memphis, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State, Mississippi State, and Toledo are some to name a few. She's got a huge camp coming up in partnership with Girls Inc. You know how much we love Mike Woods and Girls Inc. We're going to talk to her next, right here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Here they come. Truckloads of fresh inventory to Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. Choose from a huge selection of full-size GMC Sierras, discounted up to $13,250 off. New GMC Terrains, the popular SUV known for its safety, technology, and performance, is discounted up to $7,500 off. Enjoy. No payments until July. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Even though I'm away at college, Kinetic Credit Union is still the best way for me to stay connected here and at home. With the Kinetic mobile app, I have control of my accounts wherever I go. I can easily transfer money between internal and external accounts, get money faster by setting up recurring transfers, and I can find the nearest ATM or branch right from my phone. Plus, I can add my Kinetic cards to my phone's digital wallet and enjoy quick, secure, contactless payments. By the way, Mom, I need some more money.
Kinetic Credit Union, the energy for your dreams.
Any chance he asks his mom for more money on Mother's Day? No way, right?
No,
we see him. We
not.
see him every single time. Anyway, let's move forward and let's go ahead and bring her on. She's been waiting very patiently. Thank you so much. We have the founder of Protect Your Energy, a former collegiate coach that does a lot for our youth in the game of basketball, Coach LaNitra Perry. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
no doubt about it. And like I told you when we talked on the phone, the main thing we want to do is kind of give everyone that's joining us now the background history. Coming up here this summer, you have a special camp you're going to be partnering with Girls Inc. More information on the Girls Inc. website and, of course, Facebook page. We'll have Coach Perry talk about that event. And, of course, Michael Woods coming up here in just a little bit. And we are looking forward to that. That is coming up May the 23rd. It's the first annual sponsorship dinner, and she'll be the guest speaker. And then also I think there's a camp coming up too. If they're not, correct me on that, Coach Perry. But thank you again for joining us. What we like to do is set the stage and give the background history. So instead of us asking you a million questions, I'm going to let you take the floor uninterrupted, go from where you graduated high school, where you from, what led you into basketball, your playing days, and then what ultimately got you into coaching.
Whoa, that's a lot. No, that's great. So my dad is retired Air Force. So I actually lived abroad. I lived in the Philippines. I lived in Turkey. I've lived everywhere. And started playing basketball when I was 3 years old. I was in my first league at 5. And because my dad's retired Air Force, I moved around. So I had no idea about any type of exposure basketball. So I went to high school at Pine Bluff High, Arkansas. Won the state championship there with Paul Bodine. His brother ended up coaching, I think, at Texas Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
The Mississippi State came in, recruited me. It was the first offer, and I took the offer. So obviously, I became a college coach saying the same thing. If it feels good, you do it. But had a good career there. Sharon Fannin was the coach there. Played for an SEC championship, and played overseas for a couple of years, and came back and got right into coaching. I started at Georgia Tech with Michelle Joseph, and it was kind of ironic. I was just going there to kind of play pickup ball to go back overseas, and she said, "You know what? You're actually a coach." And I was like, "Eh." You know, you kind of run from your calling all the time, but
Right.
and so she made a position for me, and I just grew and grew and wanted to know more. And basketball was a big impact for me in my life, so wanted to impart that to others. And so from there, you talked about all the stops. I think my most memorable early on was University of Toledo, won an NIT championship. Very special players that I still have relationships with today. And I think that was definitely the first place that those relationships, you start to understand the coaching relationships, the player relationships, and how to get the best out of the players. It's really about how much you care about them, which will result in what they do for you. Well, not do for you, but do for the program.
Right.
And after that, went to Memphis, went to Kennesaw, bunch of stops, West Virginia, and then La Tech, and most recently Unrivaled, which was an awesome experience. You talked about Brianna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, but it was amazing to see that level of skill and that level of dedication. And so I loved it. And so now I'm here. PYE is Protect Your Energy. And basically it's education for parents, athletes, coaches on how to get the best out of yourself, how to get the best out of your athlete, how to get the best out of your kid. So that's me.
Yeah, I love it.
Coach Perry, with the rise in popularity of the WNBA this last year, more and more girls are playing high school basketball. They're getting more opportunities for college scholarships and NIL deals. But there's only 13 teams in the WNBA. So there are opportunities to play overseas. Just talk about that route that some of these college basketball players, high school basketball players, that they want to play in the WNBA because that's the ultimate goal. But there are opportunities to play overseas, and just talk about like what that experience was like and how realistic is it for a high school basketball player who's considered one of their top players to make it to the WNBA?
I feel like you have to be pretty special, obviously, when you think about the players in the WNBA. They are the best of the best of the best.
Right.
But playing overseas is not the stigma it was before. It's great money. When I played over there, the competition level is very high. In fact, you see other players and some WNBA players go to still play over there. But overall, it is because I started playing in Europe, the skill set is a little different as far as you learn certain skills a little bit earlier than you do here in the United States. But the athleticism here in the United States is unmatched.
Well, Coach, we talked about this too, about some of the things we wanted to get into, which is coaching the modern day athlete. Okay, obviously with NIL and everything else that's going on, we're going to talk about Unrivaled and obviously the popularity part of the way women's basketball is going, which I love every second of. But I do want to talk about the modern day athlete. Over your years of becoming a coach, you felt like you've had to adapt more with the athlete, and because of the stress and what they have on them with social media, I feel like it's a lot harder to play than it was even when I was in college 10, 15 years ago. How do you feel about the modern athlete and how you're trying to mold them and help them try to gain their confidence in a world that it's always trying to look at their downfall?
Right. That's a great question. I think if you don't adapt, you're going to become extinct, obviously, right? I think for these athletes, it is extremely difficult. They learn really early on through social media if somebody likes you or they don't. When I look at some of the things that happen with the WNBA players as far as the criticism and things that they get, it's really difficult. So there's a level of maturity that they have to have at a younger age. And so I feel like we as coaches have to be more prepared for that, as we are, especially with NIL in there. Anytime you add an amount of money, I think it becomes more difficult. So then you have to have an education piece of it, how you spend your money, how you handle criticism, how you handle the positive parts as well. But it's all just education. I think these athletes are doing a heck of a job, because it's not like it was when I played. If somebody didn't like us, we didn't know. But the other thing that I think has built is a camaraderie because of grassroots basketball. A lot of these players already know each other, so there's a level of competition. They've already connected. They recruit each other. So I think there's a plus and a minus to all of it.
Richard?
Coach Perry, as we recently saw in the 2024 Olympics in Paris, this 3-on-3 basketball thing is starting to take off. You see players like Haley Van Leith that's going in there, and actually it's a different game. I was actually watching this, and this is an absolute different game than the 5-on-5 that we are used to. Just talk about the growth of 3-on-3 basketball, how this is another opportunity for women to shine at the Olympics, and just the growth of women's basketball in general, because we're starting to see more and more high school basketball players who are multi-sport athletes that are not only getting scholarships for basketball, they're getting scholarships for flag football at the NAIA level. They're getting scholarships for softball. How important is it to be well diverse as a multi-sport athlete, and also the opportunity to play 3-on-3 basketball, possibly at the Olympics, and that could possibly be another league that could develop in the near future?
I think I'll start with the 3-on-3. Just with being in Unrivaled, the one thing that stood out to me was the speed of the game, which was phenomenal. It was an exciting brand of basketball. But anytime that you can win a gold medal, we better do it. you know. So it's also a way to teach the game in a different way, because there's a level of exposure that happens 3-on-3. If you're beat, you're really beat, right? And so I think it shows a higher level of skill set when you can play 3-on-3. But to your point of playing more than one sport, I definitely think it's beneficial to play more than one sport. And sometimes it gets, as coaches, we want someone always dedicated to our sport, but it's really good for their bodies to be able to mix it up a little bit. Obviously, we don't want injuries and stuff like that, but I think it's good to turn your brain over and do some things differently every now and again.
Coach, let's talk about the events that are coming up here. So we got one coming up May the 24th, a training session that people can come to. Can you talk about that? That's going to be happening at Girls Inc., which is going to be really awesome. We'll kind of explain what it's going to entail if they sign their girls up, and if our boys invited as well.
This is all inclusive, but I think mainly it'll be girls.
Okay.
I will be bringing a former player, Kiana Walker, that played at Louisiana Tech, a very storied player there. But we'll be teaching several skill sets, footwork. They'll play a little bit, but a lot of one-on-one. I'll do some of those 3-on-3 concepts that I talked about that was at Unrivaled. So it should be pretty exciting. Obviously, you see the QR code on there. It'll be a good time. We'll be able to open it up and for them to ask questions as far as how do I get to this level and what's next.
Coach, talk about being able to be the guest speaker at the first annual sponsorship dinner that Girls Inc. is putting on, which was a phenomenal idea by Mike Woods. And I love what he's doing for these young girls at Girls Inc. But talk about being the first guest speaker at the first annual sponsorship dinner being put on.
I love Mike Woods. I have a history with him, actually. I recruited several of his players. He's always tried to do everything the right way as far as getting exposure for his players and also getting them to these events. And basically this sponsorship dinner is to help those young ladies that might not have the opportunity otherwise. And so I believe it's an awesome opportunity, obviously, for me, but even more that I can give back. And Mike Woods has always been at the top of the list as far as doing things the right way and on the up and up for the players, for the kids.
Well, I love it. I can't wait to it's coming up next Friday and Saturday. So make sure you go. You got the training session again happening next Saturday, Girls Inc. at 10 a.m. There's a QR code. We'll make sure to post this on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then, of course, the sponsorship dinner. You can get tickets for $50 or get an entire table. All the proceeds are going to help Mike Woods help these young girls get the exposure they deserve in front of elite college coaches. Well, Coach Perry, thank you so much. But before we let you go, I did want to kind of talk about, we keep talking about the growth of women's athletics, but specifically the WNBA. And I know there's a hot topic of conversation, everything that came with Caitlin Clark. But, you know, instead of getting in if you like Caitlin Clark or not, I'm asking, do you like the exposure that the WNBA is getting? Because I feel like sometimes, which I understand, the league should have gotten exposure 10, 15 years ago. We've had 20 years ago when it started. We've had phenomenal players that have been just as good or not better than Caitlin Clark. But I'm glad it's happening, though. Instead of it being the way it was 6 years ago, ratings are higher than they've ever been. What's your thought on this whole thing that's happening around the WNBA and Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and all the new girls that are coming in?
I think it's about dang on time. I think it's been building for a long time, from the Cynthia Coopers, the Cheryl Millers. There have obviously been some awesome players, but I think, again, we're at a different time. The social media, the exposure, the personalities is what stands out to me the most. This is a different brand of athlete. We didn't get to talk trash on social media when I was playing, but it has been great to see. I think it's the competitiveness that draws everyone in. It's not about if you love Caitlin Clark or if you love Angel Reese. It was the level of competition that happened that I think really started this full steam ahead, because obviously the WNBA players that were already there were already great. But I think the personalities of the new and upcoming ones allowed the older heads to show their personalities as well and get that exposure.
Well, Coach, again, thank you so much, everyone. First annual sponsorship dinner for Girls Inc. Guest speaker, the fabulous LaNitra Perry, who's been a longtime coach and now founder of Protect Your Energy, which I think is awesome, giving back to the youth, to the coaches, and everyone in the game of basketball. Coach, thank you so much, and we appreciate you, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
That is Coach LaNitra Perry. We got one legend, and we'll have another one coming up just right after this 30-second break. Don't go anywhere. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mike Woods coming up next here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to the Campus Academy Private School, where every student is celebrated for their individuality. With personalized curriculum, students unlock their potential, growing into confident learners. At the Campus Academy, we give teachers the freedom to create dynamic classrooms where every student's voice is heard. Discover the difference. Enroll your child today and watch them thrive.
Welcome back, everyone, here to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show, and we keep trucking along, and let's bring him on. It is Mike Woods, the Girls Inc. sports director, longtime coach and trainer in this area, and just overall good dude. Coach, what is up, man? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, man, what's up, guys? It's been a long day trying to get this thing started and get it rolling. You know how it is. You can't wait till the last minute to get things done. So we're getting at it, man, trying to make this thing happen for these kids in Columbus.
I can't wait, man. And we'll talk about that event coming up in just a moment. But I did want to kind of talk about your AAU team that's been making some noise here. I've seen the posts and stuff, man. Talk about how the season's gone for your girls and boys teams that have been traveling and trying to showcase the wonderful talent we have here in Columbus.
Well, the first thing is that girls did well. This is probably the youngest we've ever been as far as exposure basketball. Our oldest team is a bunch of ninth graders this year,
Oh
and
wow.
they go to Atlanta and win the championship up there. Our sixth grade team went very well. They actually lost on the buzzer beater. So they finished second. And in our eighth grade team, we got a couple of missing pieces, but I think we just filled the gap. We got a young lady just coming in from Valdosta. She's going to be tough. And normally we don't get a lot of kids from out of town, but for somehow somebody recommended this kid to us, and her mom drives her up here, just like we had the situation with Michaela Timpson, and drives her up here, and she just started practicing with us. So we're anxious to see how it's going to go with her and the eighth grade team that we have. As far as the boys are concerned, we, again, the whole organization, we became part of the New Balance family this year. And we have a 10th grade team and a 9th grade team. And right now, our 10th grade team went to Memphis. They went 2-2, and our 9th grade team went 3-1. So they are headed to Dallas this weekend for an exposure event out in Dallas. And we hope that they do well. Got some young, talented, great group of kids on both of those teams. So looking forward for them to do well. And like I said, the most important thing is get those looks from the college coaches.
So I do want to talk about Michaela Timpson because obviously preseason is just underway. The Indiana Fever's had several games. She's getting some minutes. She scored 9 points against Brazil. With her game, just talk about Michaela Timpson and her getting into the rotation, because obviously the Fever getting players like Sophie Cunningham, they want to win a championship. They're trying to put superstars around Caitlin Clark. But just the way that Michaela Timpson plays, defensive specialist, do you think that she'll be able to get into the rotation for Indiana?
I tell you, Richard, if you listen to Stephanie White, every time she talks about Michaela, she lights up, man. And, that kind of, we're waiting to get that call and saying that she made the final roster. They're down to, they only can have one spot. All the kids that they brought in this year, they were fighting for one spot. And so they're down to the top 12, and they got to cut one more person. So hopefully she'll make that team. But, just listen to Stephanie White, how she says that she listens, she learns, she's a sponge, she's a great kid, super athletic. She does all the things she needs to do. With her not knowing some of the things, she knows about spacing, some of the things that you teach at a young age. That's the most important thing about basketball. So, we try to emphasize that stuff a whole lot with what we're doing and what we're teaching. So it was good to hear that Stephanie White said that when she don't even know where she's supposed to be, she know how to create space for the other players. So they're excited about it. Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with her today. She's excited, and she's getting a lot of love in Indianapolis. So she likes it a lot. She's still in the hotel until she gets that final say that she's on the roster. So I know we'll find out by Thursday. The 15th is the last day. They have every team in the WNBA has to make their cut. So we'll know by the 15th, which is Thursday, whether or not, or before, whether or not she made the final roster.
Mike, I want to ask, with it only being 13 teams and they're eventually going to expand, but how long? Because I feel like there are so many talented players that are not in the WNBA right now. And it's not like the NBA where there's players that, all right, in the G League, it maybe can make a roster on a bad team, but you know what? It's not near the amount that if you look in the WNBA, where if you take the players that are left not making a roster and you put them on a team, they still would be competitive in the league. How long do you think it will be before they add on teams, and which would, I think, help grow the league too, being in cities that need it? And it don't have to be like in like a major city. I feel like going to these smaller cities that'll embrace them more. Maybe even a Columbus. I would just throw that out there. I know we don't have a arena or anything, but you get what I'm saying. How do you feel about the WNBA and its growth?
Let me say this. That's a great shout out to Columbus. Maybe we need to work on getting us a big arena so we can do that, because I think this is a perfect spot, because we don't have any pro team with the exception of the Clingstones just coming in. Look how the people are gravitating to that baseball field, and the baseball is packed. So I think that'll be something good. But back to the WNBA, they had a new team to come in this year, the Golden State Valkyries, and then they're going to have 2 teams come in next year. So they're going to have 2 more new franchise come in this next season, and that's going to be good for the kids. And kids, we know Jessica got waived. But it gives her people like her a chance because she's 6'5", and everybody's going to need a big post next year, and it gives her a chance to come back in next year with one of those different franchises and possibly make the roster next year. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's a lot of young talent and a lot of teams, kids that are being missed out or missing the boat with the numbers being so low. But I think they're going in the right direction with them bringing in 2 new teams next year. Hopefully, with them bringing in 2 new teams, it'll end up another team here, another team there, and you eventually start to see how great women's basketball is as a whole.
Mike, let's talk about the events that are coming up. You got a couple of weeks to kind of get it rocking and rolling. I know you need donations and sponsorship. Let's first talk on Friday. You got the sponsorship dinner. What was the reason for this annual dinner that you started this year, and why did you pick? Yeah, well, I mean, not peak. Why did you pick Coach Perry to come and be the guest speaker in this?
Well, I speak highly a lot of God, how He places things in your life and how it happens. We were at a basketball. Matter of fact, we was in Tampa for the Final Four, and I was going in the gym and I saw her and out, and we just started talking. She said, "Well, come back out. I need to talk to you about something." And we started talking about different things. And then I told her right then and there, I said, "Listen, I need to get you to Columbus. I'm going to do my first annual sponsorship dinner to help raise money for our kids to be able to go off and continue doing the things we need to do." She said, "Count me in." And that's how it happened. It wasn't nothing that was just playing out all the way. It was something that I had in the back of my mind. Nobody else knew about it. And I asked her, and right on the spot, from that point on, she said yes. It was no hesitation. It's just a great opportunity, man, for somebody to want to give back to. She knows what it takes. She knows, being a former college coach, how important it is for these kids to be on the circuit. And nobody's going to just come to Columbus, Georgia just to see a kid. They have to see them somewhere else in order to come to Columbus, Georgia to see them. So it just gives these kids a great opportunity to be in the right place, man, so somebody can see them. And that's what this dinner is about, to help raise the money, man, because a lot of people are not donating anymore. We have, in our program, we have a lot of single parent kids. Single parents come from single home parents and we're trying to raise that money because it's getting more expensive every year to do these things. I remember a couple of years back, man, we can go get a 4 or 5-star hotel for $100. Now there's nowhere near. So,
nowhere near.
Yeah, you can't do it. So, man, and the events used to be $200, $300, $400. Now they're $950, $975 for an event.
Jeez.
So everything is improving, increasing. You're talking about, it might be $75 for a parent just for that one tournament to go to. And it's expensive, man. So we're trying to raise money to help give these kids the opportunity that some of them, otherwise wouldn't have if they had to pay for it out of their own pocket. We are probably one of the cheapest organizations in this area, or probably in the South. We charge $650 for our kids to play, and we try to fundraise. And when we don't do as well in the fundraising, it hurts a whole lot. So again, we need people to come out and support. And if you can't come out and support, donate to it, because again, it's even with our fleet at Girls Inc. We have 14 vans, but our fleets are getting older. We can't continue to put them on the road, going up and down to these different places for traveling, and then expect to have those same vehicles on the road for picking up for after school program. So we need to, this is a big important fundraiser for us. It has to be a hit. It has to go off well. So we just need the community that support and reach out for these kids, give donations out for these kids.
Coach Woods, talk about this training session that's coming up this Saturday. $55, starts at 10 a.m. with Coach LaNitra Perry. What's going to go into this training session? I know that it's going to be next Saturday, May the 24th, rather. Just talk about what's going to go into this training session. How long is it going to be, and what are some of the drills they're going to be working on?
Well, if you notice, LaNitra, you go on her Facebook page. She's well connected. You look at some of the things she's done. She's done some of the things. Some of the greatest trainers ever. Phil Haynes, who's one of the greatest trainers. He trained LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and all those guys.
Yep.
So he does a lot of things with him. So I'm excited. Richard, you asked me what to expect. I mean, I'm telling you, she's good at what she does, and she's excited about it. The only thing we're going to provide for her is some of our coaches to assist in the areas that she need us in. But other than that, it's going to be all her. I know the kids and the parents here will get their money's worth because, sometimes I know we got a lot of trainers around in this area, but this lady has coached on the college level. She knows what to expect. She's well connected within the pro ranking. She knows what the college coaches are looking for. And it's not only going to be a training session for kids to get better basketball-wise. It's an opportunity for parents to ask questions, talk to them about recruiting. This is a dangerous game when it comes down to recruiting and all these different things if you don't know what you need to know as a parent. So you have Coach Perry here to do all those things for you outside of just the basketball portion of it to get a chance to learn more about what's going on, because you guys know, man, that transfer portal is full. And a lot of it's because people get bad information. So you got a chance to have Miss Perry, Coach Perry, come in town, take advantage of it. And that's what I tell people. Too many times we have people come to this town. We had Cynthia Cooper come to this town, and we probably had 20, probably 20 people in the gym. There's no way in the world that you have a Hall of Fame legend in the gym in your city, and you don't come in and show up and show out big time. This lady is the real deal. She's gonna bring it, and everybody. I don't care what program you play for. It ain't about what program your kid play for. If you want your kid to get better and you want to learn something, you need to sign up for this camp. It's gonna be a great camp.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. As always, whenever you need us, we'll be there, and we look forward to seeing some of the summer league stuff that you got planned and store at Girls Inc. Thank you again, Coach Woods.
Appreciate it, brothers.
Thanks, Coach.
That's Coach Mike Woods, Girls Inc. Make sure to go to Facebook page, and you'll see the QR code. You can sign up right now. Tables are $1,000. Tickets are $50 for the sponsorship dinner, and then $55 for the training session. It is worth it because all the proceeds are going to help these girls. All right, Rich, let's take a quick break. There's a QR code. You can throw that up there, Rich. There's a QR code, and there's a sponsorship dinner. You see all the accolades, everything that she's done. She will be fantastic when she speaks. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with everything that's happening in the sports world, locally, professionally. Lions. We said we're going to talk about them. Clingstones, what's going on with them, and more here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. You're watching right now the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show that is presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. Get ready to smile. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, my name is Griff Gordy, and here at Gordy Eye Care, we have been serving the Bi-City community for 17 years. As a former state championship quarterback, I love the fact that I can watch local high school athletics from the comfort of my own home. So it was a no-brainer to support Georgia Alabama Sports Live and what they do for young athletes in our area.
And without business like yourself, Gordy Eye Care, none of our coverage would be possible to be able to cover the 16 different high schools, the local colleges, and professional teams. So we'd like to say thank you to you, Dr. Griff Gordy and Gordy Eye Care, for your support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And then you can make an appointment today at Gordy Eye Care with the number 334-291-5125. Keep supporting Gordy Eye Care and keep watching Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I get a Gordy Eye Care and Georgia Alabama Sports Live, presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet, GMC, Kinetic Credit Union, Buffalo Rock, Pepsi, and Gordy Eye Care. All right, Richard, let's talk about what just happened this past weekend. First things first, let's go ahead and get into talking about those Lions. How about Columbus? Lions on a 3-game losing streak, had a bye last week, dominated. I'm talking about absolutely humiliated the Shreveport Rougarou. And if you're wondering what a Rougarou is, it is a mythical creature from the Cajun descent in Louisiana. And Shreveport, they come in with the Rougarou. Guess what? No mythical creature or magic was happening on Saturday at the Civic Center. They probably needed it. Espinoza, 5 touchdown passes, all of them to Tramel Gooden. They put on an absolute clinic. But their offense was elite. The defense made stops. This looked about as well-coached, well-prepared team that I've seen and expected this whole season. I think this is going to be a catalyst, and they're going to go on next week. They play on the number 1 team in the entire league, the only undefeated team, Beaumont. They are beatable. I think Columbus could take them down. But it doesn't matter. As long as they beat Shreveport, and even if they lose to Beaumont again and finish out, they're still going to make the playoffs. I still expect this team and make a deep playoff run. It sucks. We probably won't be able to host a playoff game, but I've been excited of what I've seen from these Lions and another big-time win Great job by Damian Daniels. Great job by that defense. Great play calling by Antoine Young. And overall, the game day operations, Laura Smith, who's in charge, also to Nathan Fleury, the GM, president, and CEO and owner, Casey Smith, and obviously Richard Maslia. It just wonderful organization, wonderful job. Thoroughly enjoyed being on it. Me and Rick Beach had a lot of fun. Rick Beach is the best color guy we got here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. He broke it down about as good as you can, and you can go back and watch that game on our Facebook. And Lions back to 500, and they take on Beaumont this week. Can't wait to do that Columbus Lions coaches show that will drop on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and they got one more home game on May the 31st against the Wheeling Miners. The Wheeling Miners are beatable, and they got them for a road and home. I think that the Columbus Lions, they're going to be peaking at the right time, getting ready for the playoffs, but they got to learn to win on the road. I think that, like you mentioned, this Beaumont Renegades team is beatable, but they are undefeated. I really can't think heads or tails about the Carolina Cobras. Are they in the league? Are they out of the league? I look at the website. They still got 2 games on the schedule. Are they taking a long hiatus? But I just – it's tough being a semi-professional sports team. I was really looking forward to Carolina in this league, but if they're not in the league, let's take advantage of that. Let's take their spot in the playoffs, and let's get a playoff berth and possibly take down Beaumont, and then see who they like. They got the National Division and the American Division. You got the Omaha Beef. You got the Idaho Horsemen, the Colorado Spartans. You got some talented teams in the NAL. I want to say I have not really had an opportunity to see Vincent Espinoza and the special quarterback that he is, but I think that he's starting to make a name for himself in this league. As I'm shocked that he didn't get Offensive Player of the Week in the NAL, but I know it's coming because I think that he's just going to continue to get better. And the Columbus Lions, if they continue in their strides, they can upset Beaumont. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the season plays out.
Yeah, I am too, Richard. And again, great job by the Lions. Great win. New faces like Travion Samuels, who was great. Gibson Zia, who was excellent on the defensive side. Tyler Clark, the former Georgia product, was dominant on the defensive line. And just another big win for those Columbus Lions. They go to 500. We'll be talking with Nathan Fleury and Damian Daniels on Inside the Den, Columbus Lions show coming up on Georgia Alabama Sports Live on Wednesday. From the Lions, let's go to the Clingstones. And how about the Columbus Clingstones? Able to win 4 or 5. They didn't get to play the 6th game because of rain, but they won 4 or 5. They're getting back up, moving up in the standings, trying to get closer to 500. Workinger's been great. Gerardo Quintero has been excellent. And then on the mound, Ian Mejia and that bullpen has been excellent. This is what we expected from these Clingstones. So, again, it's going to take time. It's a long season. You're going to have your lulls. But right now, the way Workinger's playing, who's becoming a household name, and the way the Clingstones battled back in that second week of the 2-week homestand, I like where I'm seeing and where this Clingstones team is heading. They're just trying to keep up with Pensacola, but so is everybody else in the Southern League.
Yeah, what a series against the defending Southern League champion Birmingham Barons, taking the first 4 games. Now, here's how I feel about Sunday's game got rained out, and unfortunately, that's going to be an extra home game for Birmingham. It's only because Birmingham's not coming back to Columbus, so that I can understand why that game is going to be a road game when we're losing out on a home game. But they had today off. Obviously, they're going up to Knoxville, up in Rocky Top country, taking on the Knoxville Smokies, which, by the way, they used to be called the Tennessee Smokies. They wanted to get back to their roots of being part of Knoxville, and they also want to be known as, it's not just a Tennessee Volunteers town. That they also love minor league baseball there, and I think that it's going to be a very fun series, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the Columbus Clingstones can have a very good series against the Knoxville Smokies, and they'll be back in town once again. I think they're taking on the Montgomery Biscuits in their next 6-game series. But exciting stuff. I'm excited. The Clingstones. I have not been there since the opener. but I'm looking forward to being back.
You're going to be back soon, Rich.
Yeah. I'll be back soon. I just I'm trying.
Maybe next week you can make an appearance because we won't be as busy next week.
Yeah. You got to remember, we've been calling all these games for Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and
we've been kind of busy.
Yeah, we really have. But I'm looking forward to it.
All right, from the Clean Stones, and now let's wrap it up. Throw it up to the Columbus United, and we call it Columbus United Talk. And we'll be having a show on Thursday. Richard, I don't know who you may have in store. I'm assuming maybe Coach Teach, maybe JD, maybe Alini, maybe Paxton. I don't know, Richard. We're going to have somebody because guess what? It's finally here. The hottest team from last summer is back, and guess what? They have their home opener this Saturday, 7 p.m. at Memorial Stadium. I know, Richard, you're excited about being on the call. We are going to be able to do an excellent pregame show at 5 o'clock, 5:30. And then after that, Richard will be on the call as he is your voice for Columbus United Soccer. What are you looking forward to in this after talking with Coach Teach? Who do we play this Saturday? And I can't wait. I don't know if you downloaded. I wish we could play that promo video, hype video that was sent to us earlier. But if not, we'll manage. We'll put that up here in the near future. I promise you, to promote it on social media.
Oh, I've got the video.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and throw it in there, man. Throw it up.
All right, here we go. No,
but go ahead while you're looking for that, Richard. Kind of talk about.
Of course. Just a great atmosphere. Brand new league in the USL2. I tell you what. I mean, I know that when you talk about different tiers of leagues in semi-pro / amateur soccer, I mean, we have the NPSL, which that was the league they were in before. The UPSL is where the other 3 outdoor soccer teams are at. You got Fountain City FC and Columbus Elite FC. This is actually a USL2. You got teams in the South Central region. You got Montgomery FC. You got Birmingham Legion 2. You've got Dothan United. And I think that this is the league where you're going to have these local rivalries. Now, they're going to take on Tennessee SC to open the season. And I can't wait for this. Memorial Stadium is the perfect venue for Columbus United FC because it's just the center hub of where everything is. And by the way, I do have that hype video. If you want, I'll go ahead and I'll play that right now.
Let's see it. Man, I'm already excited, and we can't wait. What a hype video that is, man. Columbus United, we're excited, coming up at 7 p.m. So, Richard, if you want, let's go ahead and throw up that graphic of the schedule, because I know I saw that was down there that I sent you. There it is, and put it up real quickly and take the Columbus United Soccer off. Look at that. Rich knows what he's doing. Upcoming events. We have the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show today. Tomorrow, Richard will be on the call for Game 1 of the Glenwood State Championship Series against Gordo, 3 p.m. Muskogee County School District Sports Award Ceremony I'll be hosting at 6:30. Wednesday, we got the Glenwood State Championship Game 2 and 3, if necessary, if Game 3, at 5 and 30 minutes after that. Pacelli Coaches Show. Richard, hopefully you'll be able to talk with Zach Cochran and Coach and now I'm losing my train of thought. Coach Goja, who has the number 4 Pacelli men's team and the number 1 Pacelli Lady Vikings, and they're hosting the quarterfinals this Friday night, 5:30 and 7:30 at Diamond Field. We got Inside the Den also on Wednesday. Thursday, back to the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show and Columbus United Talk. Richard, I know you're excited about that. The last Columbus United Talk show before the big game on Saturday. Friday, we got GIAA playoffs. We got Brookstone hosting game 1 and 2 against Bullock, starting at 3, and then 30 minutes after that, I'll be there for that call. And then Pacelli GIAA Soccer, boys and girls, 5:30 and 7:30. Richard, you'll be on the call for that. And then on Saturday, we got the pregame show and Columbus United game at 7 p.m. Another great week here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, man. So I'm super excited about this incredible week. And I'm more excited about Ron Ingram and the AHSAA for allowing us to broadcast audio version of the Glenwood State Championship. We cannot wait for it. It's going to be a ton of fun, and I know you're looking forward to it too. We're going to save Unsolicited for Thursday because we'll have an opportunity to kind of recap everything. Heck, we may even have an Unsolicited for tomorrow night, Richard. Maybe me and you can't do something tomorrow morning or something sometime and have that go live and talk NBA playoffs and everything else that's happened because it's been a long show. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank y'all so much for watching. Any other final thoughts, Richard, before we go?
Yeah, the Dallas Mavericks won the lottery. You're going to start seeing the big three with Anthony Davis, Cooper Flagg, and Kyrie. And
You kidding me right now?
They are finals favorites. Nico Harrison is now a genius. Nico Harrison is now a genius.
I cannot believe that. The Mavericks. Nico Harrison is literally praising the Lord. We're going to have a lot of hot takes with that. Tune in to Unsolicited tomorrow night. It'll be right here at 8 p.m. on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. From Richard Holdridge, I'm Thrift Barringer saying thank y'all so much. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning on the Sports Vision Morning Show, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Sports Vision 92.1 FM. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show presented by Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC. You're ready to smile.